Good morning, everyone. It's a sunny day in Texas. The birds are chirping. I'm here in my studio doing our virtual tour of Schoolhouse. I'm so glad you're with me. My name is Lilo Bowman, and I have been a lifelong sewist, dabbler of lots of different kinds of methods of sewing, embroidery, crochet, not a lot of knitting. That was too stressful for me. And I've also done some quilting. As a military wife, we traveled a great deal, and I had to figure out ways of being able to put all the things that I like to play with in an area that might have been the size of a closet or larger. I've also been working for thequiltshow.com for the last 13 years and have met and talked with and learned from a lot of quilters that they really struggle with organizing, storing their quilts, figuring out where everything is, being able to try to find it. So that led to my book, which is called Love Your Creative Space, a visual guide to creating an inspiring and organized studio without breaking the bank. And as we know, all of your customers don't have an unlimited budget, and they don't have a huge space to play in. So I've got lots and lots of ideas to share with you that you can then let your customers know about. First of the categories would be, you've got a lot of stuff. You got a lot of stuff you're playing with that you like to organize or you want to organize. You have a space, whether it's a space like I am in here. This is a bedroom that works as an office as well as a studio. And you need a system to be able to put all that stuff in there and maybe show some things off, like the quilt that's behind me that is by Pam Shaw. And of course, everyone wants to be able to look at studios. So we've got studio tours in the book. Big studio, small studio, embroiderers, beaders, people who play in all different kinds of playgrounds. So there's a little bit for everybody to see how others have really organized their place. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty. I've got about 20 minutes from these lovely folks at C&T for me to be able to present you some ideas. I can't show you everything. I've got over 100 in the book. And so I'm going to just get some basics that we're going to focus on right now. First one would be organizing some things. Let me show you what we're talking about. Let's start with fabric scraps. And those are some things that people really stress about. Where are we going to put them? We don't want to throw them away because you might start a project that's going to need a lot of little bits like this. I bet some of you are doing some of this. Are you eating any of this kind of stuff? Guess what? This lovely container, which after you've cleaned it out and washed it, also would be a great place to store your fabric. You can, if you get the square or rectangular ones, they can stack, which makes it really easy to stack on a shelf, in the closet, in your studio, what have you. What about some of this stuff? You eating any of this? Beans? Not beans, excuse me, these are almonds and tomatoes. Same thing. Maybe you don't have a lot of scraps. Go with smaller ones. So definitely you've already spent the money on it. Now you can organize it. Another option, if you don't eat a lot of salad or eat tomatoes, absolutely. Let me show you something you can do with all of these little bits that you can save for some other fun, scrappy project. This is an over-the-door shoe holder, and these things hold a ton of supplies. Normally I have it filled with all different colors of quilting fabric, but I wanted to show you it can hold a lot of other things. What about your knitting or crochet yarn? Absolutely, by section. What about, do you do a lot of bias tape making? Absolutely, lots and lots of tools, as elastic, your spray starch, other basting kind of things. Wonderful. If you happen to have a studio where you keep the door open most of the time and you don't mind seeing this, use the other side for another kind of storage. Maybe it's paint supplies, maybe it's more knitting things. Absolutely. These are wonderful and they don't take up a lot of space, and when you move, you roll it up and you can take it with you and then just hang it on your next door. All right, now let's look at some other things that are a challenge for people to store. Do you do any embroidery, surface design work, anything of that sort? Here's another inexpensive way. Little cardboard boxes that you can get at the craft store. They can hold a plethora of things. Get several different ones. For one has wool, one has cotton, one has silk, whatever. What about some of your old vases? Look at the consignment store, look at the thrift store, yard sales. I'm a big one on DIY. It doesn't cost you a lot. If you enjoy this sort of thing sitting out, it's colorful, it's pretty, you can just reach right in. You need something, oh, let me pull out this purple ball. That's the one I want for my work. This works absolutely beautifully. Another option, again, super budget, You're probably buying some of these. Clean, make sure that they're clean, and again, you can fill it with whatever balls that you want. Put a label on it, say it's the purple and reds or the blue and the green, and they will stack. So that's another wonderful, easy, inexpensive way to get your things together. Now, what about some of these things? Everybody's got thread in all different sizes and shapes and what have you, and there are racks that you can get that you can hang your threads on, but I'm limited on space, and I don't really want to have all the dust and air around and the light. So guess what? We're going back again to the produce department. I eat a lot of sugar snap peas. Another something inexpensive. I've already bought it. Guess what? You put these little guys in the drawer, and they are corralled by color. So let me show you. This is one of my cabinets here. Pull this out. Which would you rather have? You know, all these little things rolling around, or if you put in one of these containers, let me show you here, hold on 1 second, put it together. I do them by color, sort of by color families. They stay in nice and neat. When I need something, I can reach in, grab it, and I'm done. Drawer organizing idea that is simple, and you can find a lot of things around the house. I did a bathroom remodel. This is the box that the hook came in. I recently bought some Wonderfill. These are little gift boxes. All these sorts of things become cubbies for items that you can organize in your drawer and keep things from rolling around, and they're in a little place where they stay. So here's an example again of the same size drawer, and I've just got lots of little cubbies, and I can put things like, you know, my pins, a pair of scissors, you know, measuring tape, whatever it is that you need can fit in the drawer. It's not sliding around, and it stays contained, and you can access it really, really easily. Another thing that you want to consider is, if you can't remember, especially when you've got drawers like this that are white and they're all the same, what did I put in every drawer? Labeling. Labeling makes a huge difference. And again, it does not have to be anything that is really super expensive. It can be something as simple as bread tags, bread labels, or, you know, these little items that come up to wrap up items from the produce department. Right on the bottom of them, or on them, what they are. Now I gotta find the one. Here we go. So I've got one that lists the iron, one for the phone. You can do it for the lights that you've got in your office, in your studio, and they easily fit across the cords. So they slide in there and they're done. Another way to label: go to the office supply store. Get whatever size label you want. You want circles, you want rectangles, write on them what size, whatever the item is. Peel it off, stick it on there, and then you don't have to remember what's in that bottom drawer. Hang tags from the craft store works really, really well. Again, write what's on there, hang it on the basket, and you're done. Really simple, straightforward items that don't take a lot of time, they don't cost a great deal of money, and you might even have them around the house. The other area that I've heard a lot of discussion about is that people are having difficulty as maybe they age and they have to start wearing some of these, or they're not able to reach things the way that they were able to before. Maybe you've had knee surgery and now everything is too high and you can't reach it, or you can't get your wheelchair underneath your table. So what I'm going to show you is a few really simple ideas that aren't going to break your pocketbook on how to adapt your space for the changes that you have physically. First things first, like I said about the wheelchair, you need to raise your table height to 30 inches. That allows, let's say you have knee surgery, it allows you to be able to still roll up and you'll be able to sit at the table, and that makes it a lot easier. Also, maybe a chair without arms. That's another one that will encumber you quite a bit. Now, when you're raising everything else up, don't forget about raising this. A multiple plug. If you can raise it up and have it permanently attached to the wall, or maybe you can use a zip tie to attach it to the table leg, that will also help you, because leaning over and getting something to plug it in or turn it on and off might be a little bit more difficult depending on what's going on with you physically. And the nice thing about a multi-plug is that you can turn it on and turn it off, and everything turns off, which is another safety thing that everyone should be doing. If zip ties are great, but those are a little bit more permanent, But if you want something where maybe your multi-plug is going to go with you to your retreat, then what about Velcro? Velcro comes in all different sizes, colors, and these little strips work really well for holding and containing the item together. You can zip them up on your leg of your table. Works super easy, doesn't cost a great deal of money, comes in all different sizes. Now that we've got at least our table legs and our cords corralled, here's another something that you want to possibly consider. Command hooks. If you've not seen these guys, these are a lifesaver. They are an easy way to put something up onto the table, onto the wall that you can hang up. You can hang up all sorts of things. Let's say, for example, you're used to in your studio having one of these, which is great. But now that you're in a wheelchair, or maybe you're having difficulty walking around, move this out of the way and switch over to one of these. You can hang it on the side of your work table, use one of the command hooks to hold it up. Whoops, excuse me, that one fell out. When you attach it, it usually doesn't do that on the table. And then that way you've got everything off the floor, which makes it easier for you to maneuver around. These come in different sizes, different styles. They also come in different weight-bearing amounts. So obviously something this small is not going to hold a really large and heavy item, but they do have larger ones that can hold up to 5 or even 10 pounds. So look at the packaging. There's also ones that come with the tags, the sticky hook and loop tape that can hold photos and pictures. So there's all sorts of things that you can do to raise things up, have them at eye level. There's even one that I think is super cute for holding items. Currently right now they're holding our masks on our back door, so we remember to take a mask every time we go out the door. It can also hold, again, like I said, small rulers, your rotary cutters, whatever you need that makes it more accessible for you to have it when you need it and within your arm's reach. Another thing that you might not think about for these command hooks is that, let's say you are using oxygen, and the cord can sometimes be quite long and it can be a trip hazard, or you just get frustrated with it tangling. These work really great as well. You hang them strategically about 3 to 4 feet off the ground every 3 to 4 feet, and then what you do is just simply come in, hang your oxygen cord on the hooks, and then you can work. If you have to get up and move, you just get up and change that around or wheel around depending on your mobility. But these have lots and lots of different applications, so I wanted to make sure that you all were aware of those. Now, I'm blaming it on the coronavirus because one of the tools that I wanted to show you is somehow disappeared somewhere in the house. So imagine that this is a long telescoping magnetic stick. Telescoping meaning that you can retract it and pull it out. And it has a nice strong magnet on the end, and it even comes sometimes with a little light. And this is wonderful for picking up pins off the ground, so you're not having to lean over and get them, and you can just sort of wave it around and the pins just literally jump on it. So definitely a telescoping magnetic stick would be something that would be super helpful. Also, they're not very, very expensive. We've probably seen some of these. This is called a grabber tool. Again, it works like an extension of your arm. You can reach up and get something off a shelf and then pull it down to you. So this is definitely also another super handy item. You can find them in most hardware stores also to help access whatever you're needing. Now, what about if you were doing something smaller hand-wise, such as knitting? And you've got maybe some arthritis, or you've got a wrist injury. These were actually designed, they're called Flexi Knit knitting needles, and they were designed by a knitter who had broken her wrist and wanted to still knit and found it really painful on her wrist. These are made out of a polypropylene plastic, and they are much warmer, and they're not as hard. They're a little softer in your hand, and as you can see, they actually flex, which makes them really convenient for moving knitting. It also helps, maybe you're sitting on an airplane and you don't want to have your knitting needle bashing into the person next to you, or maybe you do, I don't know. These are wonderful, and they come different sizes, and we're hoping, because I'm a crocheter as well, that they're going to come out with some crochet ones, because I love the feel of them in there, and they're nice and slick. But they're called flexible knitting or Flexi Knit. So in closing, for all of you vendors, I know that you're always looking for things to help out your market. And my aim with this book is to help your customers create a space that functions well for their needs and that they absolutely love. I hope that some of the things that I've shown you have given you an idea of what is in the book. As I said, there's lots and lots more ideas, and I'm really, really pleased to share all of this, and I'm hoping that you all like it as much as I do. Thank you so much for joining me.